Hi, everyone. It's Bob Perkins with AAISP's Inside Sales Studio. Thanks for watching us. We're going to continue our series on women in sales and women in leadership. I'm so happy today to have Sharon Frame with us. How are you, Sharon?
I'm very well, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing good. Sharon is the founder and creator of Leadership, and she's a leadership expert. It's great. She's going to share some of her experiences and tips as we talk about women advancing their career in sales and in leadership. So Sharon, for the viewers that may not be familiar with you or your company, could you just share a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to share today. It's such a pleasure being with you, Bob. I have been sounding the horn for a while about women in leadership, and I call it Leadership because we want women to know that they have to take on their voice, empower themselves to lead their lives and live it with full intention. So the leadership philosophy is based on 4 principles: ownership, relationship, scholarship, and stewardship. We teach women how to own their lives and take full responsibility of it, how to love their lives and love others in it, how to constantly grow and learn. And then lastly, certainly but not least, is to always give. Stewardship is so very important. So it's based on own, love, learn, and give. As for my background, I'm a former CNN anchor and writer. I've been in the journalism business for quite some time. But on the side, I've always attempted to make sure that we balance things out with all the awful evening news stories that we consume, that there was something positive that was happening in the world, because I believe that there is far more good than evil in the world. So I've always taken the opportunity to side on the positive side and have the opportunity to spread the word about things that are working right in society and empowering women to claim their space and claim their voice in the world and in the marketplace, and make sure they understand that they can make a difference in the world. All right.
Well, you got me excited already and energized around this topic. It's the AAISP is right behind a movement, if you will, to see really specifically a goal of seeing more women in leadership positions. Our research tells us, one, we have a shortage of mid to senior level leaders, period. Mm-hmm. We know that the leaders in place today, it's currently a bit male dominated, if you will. So we're behind this movement, and we want to help women advance their careers. And I want to talk to you about that today. Let's just open it up with really any suggestions you could have that for women today that, let's say they're a manager, let's say they're a sales rep, and they want to aspire to move their career up the ladder, if you will, or gain more responsibility. And what might you share with the viewers today that are in that position?
I think that there is this lack of women in the workplace leading, and it becomes important for us to understand that there is space at the table, and women need to understand that their voice really matter. I think we show up to the party, as I call it, or show up to the boardroom and show up to the meetings before we show up. We have to show up in our minds, first of all, understand that we deserve to be there. So before you even make a sale, you have to sell yourself. You've got to come with full confidence and understand that you are worthy to contribute, that you have got something to say, to contribute. And I think a lot of women tend to have a difficult time being in that space, because sometimes we're at the table and we are the only woman. Yeah. We're in that managerial position. We're the only female in the executive suite talking about the conditions of the world or the conditions of a particular product. So we've got to empower ourselves and feel very comfortable in our skin, know that we are worthy, and also bring value. So that's what we talk to women about. What is your value first before you show up? How do you embrace yourself to yourself and sell yourself to yourself? That's the first step.
So it reminds me of maybe mental preparation or confidence. Is that really what they need to prepare for as they take the seat at the table?
Absolutely. We look at things statically as humans, but there is a backstory to everything. There is something happening underneath the surface, the undercurrent, I call it. And that is the emotional connection that we have with our title, our position, and our relationship with other people. So if we first don't have that relationship with ourselves, and we come with certain baggages, and we ascribe certain definitions because perhaps I'm the only woman in the boardroom, will my voice count? We start counting out ourselves. We start discounting our value. So we sit silently in the corner and we think, well, probably I'll talk next time. And also, we don't necessarily have to be like men. That is not the agenda. We bring something beautiful and wonderful. When a woman walks in a room, she brings an aura, an awe, something that is complementary to the boardroom. So we don't want to duplicate what men are doing. We want to shine in our own brilliance. And the more we embrace that, the better I think the entire boardroom will be, the better the company will be, and the better the products will be, because it'll represent what we bring to the table that is unique and different.
Those are some excellent points. And if we flip this around a little bit for, let's challenge some of the men that are in senior positions. You say there might be only one woman at the table. Well, let's put a challenge out there to men who are in senior leadership positions to give those women ample space and time to value what they bring and value their opinion, and seek out the opinion of women. Any comments on that at all?
Yes, I think men should feel comfortable that women bring so much value. Right. There is this shift, I believe, and I think we all could dine at the table and not feel intimidated or think that because I'm here, that devalues your worth or your value. We all complement each other, and when you make someone lesser, you're actually making the entire whole lesser. So when we understand that we're all fitly joined together, and women bring that collaborative attitude, that spirit, that desire to think intuitively, we are readily more available to be collaborative, to be inclusive, to bring kindness, to work from the heart. I'm not saying men don't work from the heart, but I think they're attributes that women have, and they bring so much value to the table.
I love your comment on intuition. I'll never forget as a kid growing up, and Mom, how did you know that? And she'd say, well, it's a mother's intuition. Well, looking back, she for sure had it, as I'm sure a lot of women do. So let's switch gears just a little bit, and I'm going to go into maybe sort of a rapid fire questions here. You may give one word answer, or you can expand on a little bit. Let's talk about women leaders. What do you think is one of the most important attributes or skills that a woman can bring to a leadership role?
I think she brings her heart. There is a philosophy that I go by, and it's called the law of love. And therein lies, I believe, something very powerful that is missing sometimes from business. We don't understand that there's something magical about when you love what you do, when you embrace other people because they love what they do, and we all collectively work together, and we endorse each other and celebrate each other. So I think that's one of the keys to bring your story. That's another thing, Bob. I think bring your story to the table, because what you've gone through in life really makes you a better person, no matter what the background is. Bring it to the table and talk about it and incorporate it in your sales material, in your conversation with your clients. Because I tell you one thing, people, again, do not buy gadgets. They don't buy benefits. They don't buy all those other things we think they buy. They buy how we make them feel. They buy from emotion, and women have a very powerful connection with emotion because we have allowed ourselves to go there, to walk down that street of emotion and incorporate that in our leadership skills. And that's really
this is, I'm sitting here listening to this. I'm thinking it's obviously from a woman's perspective, but these things apply to men too, don't they?
Indeed, they do. But I think in our culture, we have allowed the dissecting of certain character traits. Men love from the heart. Men are collaborative. Men have intuition as well. I think our culture has molded men to think they've got to be combative or controlling, or in an environment where it's do or die. you know?
Yeah.
And women have been allowed to nurture and generate more of an inclusive sisterhood, collaboration, kind of synergistic approach to solving problems. So yes, I think men can be revived. They can be brought around to understanding that there's such a greater good when we work together and collaborate as opposed to compete.
That's great. Excellent thoughts and tips there. Let's move on to some practical, tactical type actions, tips that you can share with women that let's say they're a frontline manager. Use an example, and they really want to aspire to a director or second line level manager, such as director, VP. What are some things you can share with them if they're viewing here that they could, after this video, like put into practice?
Well, one thing is to show up early, often, with suggestions, ideas, concrete information that could move the company forward. Be proactive. A lot of times we don't think our voice matters or our suggestion matters, and it probably was shot down in the last meeting. We think, oh, well, I'll recoil, and that it doesn't matter. It matters. We bring something different to the conversation. So I'd suggest and highly encourage women on whatever level to take time to be more proactive, to think about what value they can bring. Yeah. And if you bring value to the company, someone will listen. Someone will hear your voice. Just make sure you show up with the solution to the problem. A lot of times you talk about the problem, but if you come with the solution, then you won't get a lot of arguments.
We all need solutions. And, you know, I've been in VP roles. I lead a company today, and I love it when the folks on our team come armed with ideas and suggestions, because I love to learn. So that's a great tip. Any other tips you might want to share?
I think that women ought to also consider making sure that they endorse and collaborate with their male counterparts. Do not create an antagonistic environment. It's not us against them. Right. It's us together. And the more we sound that alarm, the more we operate on the positive. I'm a strict believer that as you are, so as you speak, so you become. As you think, so you are. Mm-hmm. So if I imagine controversial, combative environment, I will create that controversial, combative environment. So if we change the way we think, focus on what works, not on what you think is happening or is not working. Mm-hmm. Focus on what is working, play on that one string, and trust me, it will perpetuate. That is what grows. What we focus on expands. Whatever you focus on in life expands. So if you want that corner office and that elevation and promotion, what is working now? Yeah. If you are diligent in working on that and expanding it, eventually they can't help but to fall over and say, hey, come on in, let's talk about that promotion, right?
That's great. This has been fantastic talking to you. As we conclude the interview, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share before we close out?
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Bob. I want women to remember that they matter and that they have worth and value. I want them to remember the 4 principles of leadership. One, that you must own and take full responsibility of your life. Because if you don't, you start acquiescing and you give other people power. When we take full responsibility, we take back our power. We stand in our space to lead a life and live something that's worthy. Everybody wants to make a difference. Everybody wants to feel valued and that they matter. But before we can allow others to matter in the workforce, we've got to make sure that we matter to ourselves. We understand our worth and our value and start developing healthy, holistic relationships around us so we can start identifying where those love triggers are in our lives. We can love our job, love others around us, and nothing works greater, trust me on this, than love. Because love is what? Patient, it's kind. There's so many wonderful attributes to love. If we were to incorporate those wonderful attributes to a business model, Can you imagine if you're patient with each other on the job, if you're kind to each other, and if you are not envious? Hello, somebody. You are celebrating your collaborators and you're celebrating your colleagues, and it only comes back to ripple into your life. Thirdly, make sure you constantly study, learn everything. Be ferocious about eating up information, learning the newest and latest technology, understanding that that's how you bring value to yourself and to your company and to your organization. And lastly, Bob, always give. That stewardship is so very important, that we give back to others. We tithe into other people's lives. We mentor people. We lift as we climb. And those 4 anchors, own, love, learn, give, are the anchors for leadership.
It's great. We need more companies grabbing onto those values and those things you just said. Sharon, how can our viewers get in touch with you if they want to, say, continue this conversation or tap into your expertise?
I would absolutely love to continue this conversation. My website is SharonFrameSpeaks.com. That's SharonFrameSpeaks.com. The office number is 678-602-2899, and you can catch me on LinkedIn or Facebook. It's just so lovely to be able to connect on so many different platforms.
Well, look, it's been fantastic. I truly appreciate talking about giving back, you giving us 20 minutes of your time, sharing these tips, this expertise. I think together we're helping women specifically in their careers and in their lives. So thanks again. We look forward to maybe seeing you at a future AAISP meeting or conference. Until then, this is Bob Perkins with Inside Sales Studio. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.